Yeah, that felt like, what is this? What does this switch do? Right. Yeah, so next I'm going to do the Vertex input attribute descriptions. One, which is hopefully still, what is this? I'm pressing J and it jumps to the top. Looks like caps lock is on. It was on. Nobody knows why it was on. Undo. Redo. Yeah. Yep, it exists. Frame resource. Well, no, not really. That's another test. That is what it is. Yes. Add vertex shader has the vector. And I'm going to assume that that is being filled also somewhere, like it's just printed and not filled, really. Really? Like, really? There is another vector that is not being used at all, anywhere. Ridiculous. Ignoring frame resources count. Hi Lance, how are you? Okay, maybe this is an entry point here, or maybe not. This is where it used to be filled. Feels very much like a push constants. Add vertex shader, yeah, same thing. It's just the same thing. Ish. World Cup. No, I hate soccer. Location, binding, format, or offset. Update location and offset. From vertex attribute. Count vertex attribute. Offset vertex attribute. Format vertex attribute. Binding vertex attribute. Location either second or either comes from find vertex attribute. Vertex attribute. Vertex attribute iter. TLSL ID full to vertex attribute. And basically, this is where it all comes from. So this function converts writing it, hello Philip, writing it is not improved, I bet. Definitely not. But Vulkan in itself results in a higher frame rate. If you get it right. I think that this function is converting the mglsl ID full to vertex attribute to the vector that we need. It seems to be like the only input. So I'm going to reproduce the thing that we just did for push constants for this. Now I'm in textures. Let's go here. Let's look at the get diff here. And there we see what we did. Now we have to do this again. But for the other, you see, it's almost nothing. That must be easy. It should be easy. Hello, Braca. Shall I do it top down this? Just like, well, it's gonna be so much the same that I don't have to think about it. I think we can do that. So begin at top, which means I'm editing this and I'm repeating the exact same thing. 1. It's attribute descriptions, right? So I'm going to delete that line, just like I deleted this line. And vertex attribute descriptions. Yep. Okay, I hate it like a lot. Did it even write something then? I want to remember this. Sorry, I just have to remember it. Pasting it in the chat. Oh, got a cold or something? I don't know. Delete. Get div. Ta-da! Now we not only deleted this line, we also deleted that line, so that has to be good. Also, we deleted this line, and therefore we're going to delete this line, because that's also about vertex input attribute descriptions. That's the same file. And then the fix me can be deleted as well. Get diff. And now we have that deleted and that deleted. And this deleted and that deleted. I think we're on the right track. Next, I have a boolean sorted push constant ranges changed added to the thing that is a source of my vector. And I mean that vector. So now I have to find the source of the other vector. And that source I just pasted in the chat. So I'm going to copy it from the chat again. Look for it. Find the header that defines it. Where is it? Here? I think so. Mutable. Oh, whatever. It's mutable. Boolean. Well, blah blah blah. Changed. And I think I set it to false. Right. Get diff. So now I have a sorted push constant ranges changed set to false. And we have this set to false. So then the next thing is that I have to copy this. Override of characteristic range bridge. And well, here's just a const removed, but more importantly, this was added. Register add push constant with. And the reason that it is here is because that one is in add push constant. So now I have to add something like this to the class that I just changed, which was this one, which means add vertex shader. So I'm going to edit, add vertex shader .h, or I just added this boolean. And then I have to add think a public something. Where can I add it? Protected. Why is this here? Oh, already outside the class. No, I think it was public. Was it not public? So I wanted to add that. This is not push constant. This is add a vertex shader with whatever. Which of course means that we have to add it to the base class. Oh. But add shader stage has it, I think. Add shader stage has, yeah, characteristic range bridge. So we're going to add it to the characteristic range bridge. And then let's put it here. And I'm going to say implemented by add vertex shader. Which then means that we need to, well, actually that is not going to do anything, and it's a virtual function. I'm going to need to add this to add vertex shader. Did I not already? Confused? I don't think so. Yes, of course. No, I didn't. I added it to the characteristic range bridge. No, that's this one. Huh? No, I didn't. I did. Here it is. I just did. But I didn't implement it yet. Okay, let's implement it. Implement it. As in... Now this is the function that is doing the stuff. Vertex vertex binding description for the attribute description. That was it. So I'm going to add it here. The implementation of my undo redo. Right. And that then I'm gonna look at the diff again, I think. Okay, diff. Okay, this was duplicated there, this is duplicated here. This boolean is duplicated down here. This register inside whatever class that is, add push constant, not alright, that's in add push constant, is duplicated here in add vertex shader. Yep. And this, setting it to true. Okay, so I need to set my new boolean to true somewhere. And this is my new boolean. And that needs to be set to true, of course, when the GLSL ID default to vertex attribute changes. Which is, I don't know, crap, GLSL ID full to vertex attribute changed. No, this one. And that clearly is being changed. In add vertex shader dot h line. Actually, I see two lines, two times an insert, 110 and 142. Okay, add vertex attribute. Some difficult template called add vertex attribute, and I have another one here for erase, I guess, or the other way around. And both of them are being called from here. So I might as well set that there. If add vertex input binding is called, then it was changed. That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. Well, that's only going to happen once, because you are only allowed to call this once from the initialization. I guess that's a good thing, but okay, I'll keep it. I'll keep it anyway. But yeah, no, that's nonsense. I don't know. Let's add a comment anyway. This function should be called only once. So maybe it is unnecessary to use this boolean. But for now I'm adding it to have a perfect copy of what I did for the push constants. Okay, so we have register. I had setting push constant changes to true is now duplicated here. And then we are at is constant. Okay, that's weird. Or weird, maybe not, but do I really need a separate register at Vertex? I guess I do. It's kind of weird. I mean, the add shader stage is a base class of the add vertex shader. So then I would registering the same characteristic twice on the point of view of being a shader stage. I guess I'm doing something else that is unrelated to vertexes in this case. And yeah, okay, well, no. Okay, I guess I'll just add it. Yeah, I need to add a fragment shader then as well, but let's do that when I get to it. Now let's do it immediately. Yeah, then I need to add those to the base class, which I guess is here. I already added this one. What? Register? But it didn't even call it and it already exists. So strange. So strange. And shader stage, shader stage, and it's not there. Okay. So this is already there, and then I guess I have an implemented by add fragment shader. Oops, what happened? Add fragment shader. It's here, but I don't think I'll add it already. It's not highlighted. Okay, so I have to add that to the add fragment shader then. In the same way as I did this one. Let's peek how I did that. I added that as a private function, which is an override. Final there. Well, okay, doesn't really. Nothing super special, I guess. So here I have private stuff and public stuff and protected stuff. I guess I'll just add it to the... Well, it's a vertex attribute, isn't it? Well, not really. Not really. I'll just add it here. And that then is a final thing. And yeah. No, that's weird. Here it is. Add vertex shader, register, add vertex shader with const. Yeah, I just added it twice. No, I didn't. It's fragment shader. Wait a minute, I had to go here. Twice, yep. This one is public. No, it's nonsense. I think it's called from, it's an implementation. Let's move it over here, but it did exist already, okay. And then I also want to add this one to the fragment shader already. I don't even have an add fragment shader. What? Like that. That's better. That fragment shader doesn't have anything at all. Okay, so what's your final? Nothing. So empty as can be. So I won't forget that. Add fragment shader. It's not even printing anything. Well, whatever. So we added that, and then we have this, and that should be implemented, but I don't know how. So instead, I'm just going to write everything. Look at the diff again. Now we have register, push constant ranges false, register add push constant width, set to true. The register add vertex shader with must be implemented. Did I already skip that here? Nope, I didn't see it yet. Boolean, that was added. Another declaration, add vertex shader, that was already there. This function should be called only once. Okay, we set it to true already. We call all those stuff things. And I'm having a... I'm having it here. Also the base class... little functions, and this is the register push constant with. It's a characteristic bridge, so this one now it's copied here. Yeah, so what is missing is a div. The only thing that's missing is a new file, I guess. So the get diff doesn't show new files. Well, this file here. That implements the register with. Hello, Roger. And Ru4J02. I'm using Arch. And Pro user asks, is it possible to develop an engine in C? Everything is possible, but I wouldn't recommend it. Braka asks, is this a hobby or do you have a job? It's a hobby, it's a full-time hobby, so yes, I do not have a job. I would not have time for that. Register add push constant with. Okay, let me just fill this in. So now I have a register add vertex something. Register add vertex something is defined in it's a declaration. There's the definition, I think. No, this is a definition. I have to add that. Already have that. I'm an idiot. Push constant. Why is this not already jumpable? Well, you could call it that way, I guess. Register ref. Okay, and so I need to do something like this. Add to FlatCreateInfo, and then we are going to add it. Or it is our vector. Which vector is that? I suppose it's being printed here. This one. Vertex input attribute description. It's one of them anyway. There is one thing missing. One thing is missing. Actually, yeah. Really. It's annoying that apparently if I compile, then I guess my audio stops and OBS must be stopping, I guess. Maybe I should compile with less cores. This is C++, yeah. And Satyendra Google Vulkan engine. Because that's what I'm writing. I'm missing something. Let me just look at the diff again. Okay, this is really weird. Really weird. I really thought I was using this. Why is it not shown? Oh, it's not shown because it's in that new file. Yeah. So this new file is doing the if in the copy push constant ranges. And this, oh, right, okay, so this must be called. And that function is responsible for copying, well, whatever it does. It's filling, in the end, it's just filling my push constant ranges which are registered here. So I need a function that is actually filling the vector that is being registered. And then I can test it there, and then I still have to call it as well. And then for the vertex attribute. And also that is a virtual function. Jesus Christ. And home to def is correct. It's difficult. Okay, I need to, well, this was so equal that even this I can just blindly do it the same place, right? So I'm just literally copying what it says there, like literally. Okay. If this is an add vertex shader, then now we can copy add vertex shader something to add vertex shader something. And then we do copy something. Okay, so I just have to fill those things in. So add vertex shader, well, what are we going to copy? I think it was the vertex input attribute descriptions. No, so this MGL is changed. So this MGL ID full to vertex attribute. Two, and then the one that we registered, which I think was this one. And then we're gonna call that copy, and I'll just call it like this one. Okay, and then we have to add that one, and let's copy it so I know what the name is. We have a copy push constant ranges, which is defined in the characteristic range bridge, and it is above the register, and this one is also implemented by add vertex shader. So that's going to be here. Equivalent to this copy here. task PipelineFactory doing nothing. Which then must be added to the add vertex shader. I wanna have a look where this one is put, I guess above the register or something. I don't even know. Yeah, just copy and then register. So we can do that as well in this class now. Register, and then above that I put this one. And just stealing for myself. Where's my register? Yeah, put it above it. And this is now a final. Yep, and then we can also do the implementation in the same place, I guess. Sajinda Mishra. Can someone explain the project deeply? Well, okay, question 1. Do you know what is Vulkan? Do you know what a Vulkan engine is? Copy vertex input attribute descriptions. Okay, now this one looks a lot like that other thing. Copy, well, nobody knows of course what it was called. I'm just gonna look at the div again. So I have somewhere, oh, we don't have that here. I have to look at the new file again. This one. Okay, so we do if something and then we copy it and then we set the changed to false. So we test that. I'm just gonna copy this. Push constant CXX, and I'm going to add a vertex shader CXX or not. On top already here. Oops. Yeah, so Vulkan is the successor of OpenGL. OpenGL is very old, and modern graphics cards just don't fit very well anymore to the API that was invented in 19 something for OpenGL. So Vulkan matches the API. Vulkan matches the modern graphics cards much better. Gives also, you know, access to yeah, basically everything, like the compute stuff, ray tracing, stuff like that. On a low level, you have to do way more as the user, but the result is that you get higher frame rates, and you can make a better use of the graphics card. Now the Vulkan engine is, as is described in the description below the video. I'll read it. The FAQ in my description, which you can see below the video, is what is a Vulkan engine? Answer a graphics program that uses I have to edit that. That uses the Vulkan API, a library plus a driver that talks directly to the GPU. An engine is a bunch of functions that do complex tasks so that you can use Vulkan with a simpler syntax. Now, what my Vulkan engine specifically does is take a lot of work out of the hands of the user. And my aim is as always for all the code that I write, that there is no duplication and you cannot make any errors. So suppose you want to do something, then there is only one way you can do it, and if you do it that way, then it will work. Maybe that's a bit exaggerated, but let's say Vulkan this has a lot of demands, right? You mean the API is so extensive. You can say I want to show a cube with textures on it. Then you have to do like a billion different API calls. And if they don't match up, then it won't work. Meaning that you have to pass a 1 as an argument to one of these functions, and the same one has to appear somewhere else and somewhere else. So that is duplication. You have to use a 1 here, and you have to use the same 1 and somewhere else, and the same 1 somewhere else. So what I'm trying to do is that all those duplicated things are generated by my Vulkan engine, and the Vulkan engine then makes sure that everything is consistent. So for example, the descriptor sets, the Vulkan engine puts together the descriptor sets and makes sure that the location where shader variables are put and the bindings that are used for the different resources within given descriptor sets, that they will be all consistent, and the user does not have to worry about that anymore. Now that sounds a lot like how OpenGL works, which that's why OpenGL is easier. So you could argue, well, if you do that, then you just get the OpenGL interface, and it's going to be slow again. But I don't think so, because I'm still doing things from the point of view of Vulkan. I don't even know OpenGL, and I'm a speed freak. So if there's anything I can do to keep things fast, then that's what I will do. Yeah, I see more skin. You should have... no, not saying anything. Before you were red, now you're more like... You just took your shirt off, Post Bunny. I don't think you can click on it. You cannot enlarge it, the picture. Post a high res of your profile pic on Discord. I want to see it. No, I'm more looking at your shoulder. The one shoulder looks wide, as if you still have a dress on. I'm thinking like, what the fuck? Why is there still clothing on that one shoulder? Or maybe it's just white because of the lighting. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue coding. So the PipelineFactory is calling this immediately after the preprocessing, after all the characteristic tasks are done with preprocessing. And it has to copy the data that it generated into this vector. That's the task here. Yes. No, that's what I see. Yeah, that's just post a picture. Just post a picture in a larger, so we can actually see if you're still wearing something or not. It's very, very difficult to see. If okay. Aha, okay. Yeah, I see. Are you sure that's you? Looks like someone. What is it called? If you play a role, cosplay, cosplay, cosplaying a hobbit. So what's with the pointy ear? D&D, okay. I thought she looks like a hobbit. You also have a hairy foot, and elf is also possible, definitely, yeah. Pointy ears, oh, fun. Fun. Well, you definitely could not see that in the picture on YouTube. Cosplay, yep. Aha, well, there's a lot of effort for the Dungeon and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. What is it? Yeah, that you dress up like that. No, I'm not tall at all. I'm a small Dutchman. Yeah, Riot is not friendly. I mean, completely okay with that. You would say I don't care, but if you say no one cares, then you're just being a bully. But yeah, well, I agree that at least you should continue with the C++. That's what people are here for. If I wish I could just remember everything. Like if blah 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 changed, that's what I remember. But what was it? Changed that. Okay, whatever. If that changed, then we do something and we said change of course. I'm just copying, the push constant stuff. And then here we actually have to do that copying. Now the funny thing is, this is doing it. That is, it returns a vector. Well, I might as well leave this one intact. I don't know, is that true? Shall I just leave it intact? I'm gonna leave it intact. So in fact, I'm going to copy to, and then of course nobody knows what, oh wait, here, that's the thing that I registered. So I'm just going to write then to it what this returns. And the thing has a badge, but let's remove the badge because, hey, Vertex input attribute descriptions. Yeah, that's kind of silly, of course. I might as well just copy this code. Get rid of this function. Ka-dung, 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 ka-dung. I'm not sure if I want to keep this debug output. I want to keep it actually, but okay, I'm just going to copy everything. Zip. Why? So get rid of this function and just put it here, basically. Well, this does the copying, except that now it copies it to a local factor. And I should do that at the end. We don't return anything anymore. And this is no longer an entering. Entering is here, but I'm not sure I want to print that if we don't do anything. Well, I could do like that and then say entering at Vertex shader. Let's give it the name that it has here. Vertex descriptions, and then I will just only print it when this thing is, I don't know. Well, this may be silly. I might as well print it here then. It's a bit sneaky because you can enter it and then not print that we entered it if this is false. But hey, who cares? Okay, and then this thing has to go. Check again. This thing said that, yeah. So we just have to put an M in front of it. M underscore pushback. But cannot just start pushing back stuff. I think you have to should clear it first. Do while this was the if. No, this is not an if, this is a loop. So it seems that I have to clear it first, otherwise you get very confused if we call this twice. So now we start with an empty vector, and then we fill the vector with stuff. Now that's good, right? And then at the end I say false, so next time we don't do it again. And then this function here is the virtual function that is being called. Copy Vertex can be, yeah, whatever. So I think that now it's called from here. Add it there. Make. Now it should work. Moment. No. No. I don't know. No. Do you see me, you know, waste a lot of time because of the editor? I think that almost all time goes into thinking, isn't it? Jumping around is okay, but I think I'm doing pretty well with that. I have a lot of code. I never look at the code. I just jump to it. To really, I mean, if you have a million lines of code, then you're not going to search code manually. It's always regular expressions and or jumping directly to a declaration. That's absolutely necessary, but I can do that. Sometimes I have to run manually make C tags, and that takes a few seconds. But then I can jump. Jump. What else is there? A voice controlled AI. Jump to this. Yeah, no, you have to say it then. You have to put your mouse on it anyway, I think. So I have my mouse on it and I just one key press and I jump to it. It compiled. We're going to run it. Bang, it crashes. Do we have a validation error? Dun, 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 dun. What? No validation error. No validation. Okay, no validation error. We have a core dump. That's not bad. It's actually trying to do something with my fragment shader. Now I have to implement that too. That's kind of annoying, I have to say. Yeah, let's not crash here yet. I want to see if we get past the previous error without stopping on a newly added assert. I really like Haunted Dev. He gives accurate answers. I completely can stand behind. Now, what now happens? Validation error. Duplicate state flags found. Push constant ranges. Dang. I thought we had passed the push constant ranges problem. I think the first validation error is this one here. This is about the vertex attribute stuff, the vertex attribute descriptions that I just worked on. Well, it's all fine and dandy, you know, it's the front line, and I'm working on it. It still doesn't work, but that's okay. But yeah, a bit later it complains about something with push constants. Duplicate stage flags found. Well, it's two separate errors. I guess neither still works. I guess I'll just work on the first one. And which is this one. Haunted Dev, did you download my Git repository? Well, then it should be a perfect match, I would say. So what exactly, I can start explaining how to install it, but I would just reading out loud. Wait. So other people can see that it's a bloody delayed, but I can start to read out loud the readmes. But what exactly is the problem then? Oh, so the highlighting works for the keywords. Let's say if you look like a file like this, then void is green and a string is has this color like pink. Is that, are your strings pink? Okay, then everything works and I understand what is going wrong. I'll explain. I think you're intelligent enough. So, I mean, I'm used to stupid people, so sorry about that. Most people are in my eyes, very stupid. So at some point in my youth, say when I was much younger, I was very impatient with people. And as soon as I didn't understand anything, I just got mad and whatever. And then some point in my life, I changed to just explaining everything until excruciating detail so that people could follow it. And I don't, often I feel I don't have time for that, but I really go into a different gear. If someone tells me I am intelligent, then I go into a totally different gear and I stop explaining anything. I just assume that they, understand everything at once. I don't do that in the stream. But in this case, you have shown that you are, I think, not stupid. So I'll just explain it in a short time. The point is that what I'm using apps is a bash function for make. If I do make c tags, I'm actually running this, and you understand and run this part, which is you run c tags on all the source files, but the part that you don't have, that's the part that you are missing. And I believe that gen tags is a part of the repository. I'll first have a look at that, if I can find it in the repository. So I would go here, repositories, new in gen tags. So this is part of that repository and you have to run it if you want, to get highlighting for your types and all. Now the way I run it is by passing the tags file that you just generated. So you run c tags, which generates this, well, a text file in the current directory, the way I run it. And I first do cd to the object directory, so we are in there. This is the file I just generated. I run gen text on it. Then I do an egrep and filter out, -v is just remove everything This is I'm not interested in. That's all filtered out. What is left is sorted, and the -u is make it unique so don't get duplicates. And I write that to repository base object dir tags.vim. But that's a random file. So how does the tags.vim get loaded or used? Now I would expect that is explained also here, because we have a readme in the gentext. And it says c.config nvim after syntax cwp readme tags.vim. So you should have copied that to .nvim after syntax, etc. Unless, of course, you're using nvim as if it was vim. Then it is something like, I don't know whether I switched to completely nvim. You know? I mean, there is a way to have your configuration files at the same place as Vim would have them. If not, then it is put in .config nvim. Maybe I make a mistake here, by the way, but okay, my memory is not that good. So we go to .config nvim. Again here to the readme. At the following syntax highlighting to .config nvim init.nvim. That is where nvim would read it from. And these are the, well, this is already working for you apparently, because otherwise you would have no real, what is it, true color and stuff. You have to set for this to work, you have to set the repo base to the base of your project. And the reason is that it can find the text file. Although these are the tags that were generated by ctags, which obviously only works when this is the path to your text file. Which only is the case when you set the repo base correctly, and your object directory is called repo base -object there. It's a free choice. If you compile somewhere else, you have say a repo base /build, then you have to change this to repo base /build /tags or whatever, wherever your text file, the text file that you tags file that you generated with ctags must be this path, right? And sorry, it pointed to after syntax cpp vim. I forgot, damn it. Readme, this one. That's the readme that I was referring to. So optionally generate a tags.vim file, which I do here. Yep. Run gentags on your generated tags, filter out what you don't want to color, sort it and write it to some tags.vim file. And if you have generated that, and there is an example how to do that, but it's shorter than what I'm using. Where repo base -object there /tags is the tags file that you just generated with ctags, for example, blah blah blah, which adds support for the using keyword. You don't need it anymore. This is not needed anymore because the using keyword is now supported by the latest ctags. As it just, you know, prints all the source files. And then that will be loaded by having this in this directory. Sorry, yeah. Wait. Is that a readme.txt? Wait, it says where it is. Was this project dependent? I urge you to start using CDAEH, yeah, for automatic environment and command line history switching. This Vim script then loads it. So this concatenates repro base with minus object there, and then it becomes the full name of your text.vim file generated by the, where is it? The gentext script. If that is readable, then it sources it. So you have to make sure that this is executed. I would think that that is done automatically, if that file exists. Let me have a look in my own. It's kind of weird though that it is a Vim script that starts with readme. But yeah, it ends at .vim. And that it starts with readme doesn't really matter, I guess. It's not put in here. Nope. Right, so let me first put sorry, there's the chat. Okay, you say here is thank you. I didn't look at the chat for a while, but I suppose you now can make progress here, right? So close this and then move it back. Okay, what I can still do though is have a look at my own files. cd.config, cd-envim, cd syntax, and that's not the one. cd colors, also not, it was after. Well, this is, of course you need this. This is just a link to my Git repository. You should have copied it directly here, I guess. cwcolors.vim, but you already have that. No, it was about after syntax. And then again, I have links to my repository. And apparently I want .c also to be CPP, treated the same way. This is from the repository, so you copied that repository file to this directory. And then here we have tags.vim. Aha! So that's how I do it. I'm writing it to here apparently. I'm a little bit confused, but this is what I have. It's maybe not well described then in the repository. There is a README, but what you actually need is two of these ifs. I think this is described in the README. But as you can see, I also pick a text.vim from the repo base. So this is the build directory, repo based minus object there is my build directory. If that exists, then I read it. And if there is a text.vim in the repo base itself, then I read that as well. And as you could see in my alias here, I'm writing it to repo base object there, but maybe some other project is writing it to directly to the source directory. Right, and but yeah, most importantly, I guess it's not called readme. It's tag readme tags.vim. It's just tags.vim, and that's how I write it here. I'm writing it to tags.vim. Well, it doesn't matter. No. It's what it loads. I guess you can call this file however you want. This is just a Vim file that should exist. And that then reads something from your repository. And that it has the same name doesn't really matter. This is just a .vim file, and this is whatever it loads. It's a different file. Now this file, which was generated by Gentex, doesn't exist because I'm just in a random directory. You know, repo base is empty here because it's only defined when I'm inside a project. That's because I'm using cd/eh. As if I go to I don't know, my home directory, it says environment changed. So now, if I now do echo repo base, then it is empty. Go to projects, it is empty. If I go to x3 grep, it is surprisingly empty. What? Oh wait, I should the repo base maybe deeper. I have to go to, well, let's go to chessboard. All I has to do twice, so also the history changed. So repo base is set to chessboard now. So it's just simply changing my directory. Nothing. Linux viewer. Now it's Linux viewer. I could also read that in the README that I said. You know, I highly recommend that you start using the cd/eh, so you have automatic environment switching. And that's a lot easier than that you have to set your environment every time manually. So that link is you can find it on my homepage, I think. Homepage. Yeah, directory dependent history and environment. That's about the switching stuff. It's not very difficult. You just have to set an environment variable. I set it for my bash. So if I look at my bash directory, I just have this. This is all there is. So I set my cd/eh root to opt cd/eh, and then I source the env.bash.rc. And then everything else is just installed here, like everything. That's this. However, I don't have it in my path, I think. And this is not in my path. But you want the add history and the do prompt in your path. You need that. So if you look at, so let's use a local bin, which is in my path. Then add history. There's a link from add history to opt cd. Apparently, I do not have. You do not need to do prompt in it. That is wrong. But the add history you would want to have in your path. So you need that. But I think that's all described on the web page here. And that's basically all you need. There's a lot talk about how to fill it, I mean how to use it, but that's all personal stuff, you know. You can use a lot of stuff, like everything below example is what I used to do. I'm not even using this anymore myself. But here you see I use repo base, I set repo base, I set project there. It's not required for CDEH to work. It's just, you know, my system. I'm using a lot of environment variables that automatically get set when I change project. And a lot of my scripts then assume that that they are set automatically and they use it. For example, configure options is also set. So we are in Linux viewer, configure options, empty, really, Linux viewer. Okay, yeah, that is empty because configure options are for auto tools, and Linux viewer is not using auto tools. I have something else set. Let's see, some CMake stuff, I guess. Yeah, CMake configure options get automatically set. So I just print that. So these are now set to this. That's what I use to, you know, if I do make, no, if I type in configure, what happens? Which configure? That's a bash function, and that says if CMake options is not empty, then remove the CMake cache and run CMake with the source directory, the repository base, the build directory, repository base minus object dir. The log, meshes log level is status. The build type is set in CMake config, and then followed by that thing that we just printed. You see, heavily dependent on the environment. Well, environment variable here, environment variable here. It's using a repo base is being used. It becomes almost so general that I can reuse this in every project. And if I go to a different project, go to chessboard again. Then I don't think I have the history change as well. So very handy actually to have a history that depends on the directory that you're in. Okay, it does have a set, but you can see it's totally different. And I guess that this one does have auto tools set as well. I wonder what libcwd has set. libcwd. Again, the history changed. This is being used by, yeah, to configure libcwd at the moment. Okay, enough advertisement for my CDEH project. I think I'm gonna quit because it's late enough. I want to do something else and then I go to bed. Hello, Eskimo Joe. Yeah, I'm slow progress. Okay, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, and then again with what is it? With the C++, with the Vulkan engine. So in case anyone did not hear this yet, 25 December, first Christmas day at 1800 UTC. Be there if you can, because then I'm going to do a special Christmas stream, as it were. C++ programs will be written, and we're going to do something very fun. But yeah, I have to be there from the start, I think, otherwise it's probably not as fun. You know, you have to follow it. You have to understand what I'm doing from scratch. So it's nothing to do with the Vulkan engine. But okay. Plus, well, if you're gonna be there, please watch this YouTube. We'll go to YouTube, youtube.com. A cat. I have to click on it. Oh no. No, let's not click there. Let's click on, let's search for the let's conjecture here. That's the one I want to do. So I recommend everyone to yeah, the simplest math problem no one can solve. Watch this. Why this starts at, okay, well, no, never mind, I guess. Sure, if you attend, or even if you don't attend, because if you watch this, you will attend. You will tell your family, sorry, I cannot be at the family party of Christmas because I have to watch a color stream. Watch this. Now I'm gonna stop again.